All right, we're playing some Jund Control today in the F2K event. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to play this or the Teamer Ultimatum deck, and ultimately I ended up settling on this because the Teamer Ultimatum deck didn't feel like it had enough player agency for me in the mono red and mono white matchups. While those matchups weren't unwinnable, a lot of the times you're mostly just like flipping coins and hoping that they didn't have their nut draw, whereas a deck like this that gets to play a lot of interaction, especially deadweight out of the sideboard, tends to have a lot of player agency in those matchups. One card I didn't play with at all on stream that I played with a little bit off stream that felt really good and really felt like it was the kind of the missing piece to the puzzle was Klothys. So this card is reasonable against rogues for keeping your graveyard small. It buffers your life total in the aggro matchups. Its main deck graveyard hate against the red-black decks. And the various Sultai decks in the format, most of them actually can't take this card off the table. So if you stick it early, I don't think it's actually uncommon to have this card deal double digits or even just like the full 20 to your Sultai ultimatum opponent if you can keep them off of their namesake card, which postboard, in addition to my Agonizing Remorses and Duresses, I've got 4 copies of Necromentia here because I think not only with Klothys but also with the rest of the card advantage this deck is able to generate. If we're able to keep the Sultai Ultimatum decks from casting their namesake card, we generally are pretty favored in that matchup. So we've got a lot of good interaction for the aggressive decks. We've got Necromentia as a way to keep up with the ultimatum decks, and then Ugin's the janitor that kind of comes in and cleans up messes in between. In addition to Klothys and Valki, we also get to play Shatterskull Smashing as part of the mana base being in the Jund colors, and I honestly think this is just the best mid-range or control bolt land. It's so good. Like having a land early that's basically a 2-for-1 answer in the late game is just super, super powerful, and I've been really impressed with this card in the various decks that I played it in. For the first match today, we are paired already, and it looks like we are playing against Sultai Ultimatum, which, giving their deck list a quick perusal, they actually, in fact, have 0 ways to take a resolved Klothys off the table. They have some counterspells like Mystic Disputes and Essence Scatters that we kind of need to play around to make sure it can resolve. But if this comes into play, other than our own Ugin downtick, it isn't leaving play. And in fact, occasionally having to exile our own to clean up the board is part of the reason why I'm playing 3 of them, because I think we mostly want to keep this card in play in these matchups that are going long. Let's get our first round opponent queued up here, huh? Right, so we lost the die roll, but I actually think the die roll matters a little bit less in this matchup than it does in a lot of others. The opponent's archetype is notably playing Cultivate, I think. Yeah, they're on 4 Cultivate. So they have Cultivate being on the play can be a pretty big boon to them, but in general, I think this matchup depends less on the die roll / coin flip than most others. So this is one of the nice things about, I guess, even in a closed decklist tournament, I would know that I could keep this in because my opponent's showing a Yorion, but knowing that my opponent's on a slower deck, this is definitely a fine keep. Is my opponent playing the counter unless they pay 1 card? Doesn't look like it. So it looks like whatever I do this turn is likely to resolve, so I think I want to just take the opportunity to stick Mazemind Tome. Could have a Shark Typhoon cycle or a Omen of the Sea here. Doesn't look like it. I really want to scry here. I think I'd rather just prioritize activating my my Mazemind Tome for actual cards in this matchup. I'm gonna wait on the Agonizing Remorse because I want to give them the most chances to draw their copies of Emergent Ultimatum so I can take them away. I don't have Necromentia game 1, so I want to just want to get as close as possible to them being able to cast it where we can remorse it here. There is some merit to like, hey, they could have a negate or something the following turn, which is a little annoying, but I think I'd rather give them more chances to do it. They have binding here for the tome. I'm a little bit sad that I didn't scry, but if they don't have exactly binding, I'm happy that I waited. They're just drawing Yorion. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Elspeth's Nightmare. I think I want to Remorse this turn now. They're 2 turns off of their Emergent Ultimatum, but Agonizing Remorsing this turn gives me, what's the word I'm searching for? It gives me most efficient use of my mana. I need 2nd red for Smashing, but I have that here. We can play this as black. Probably want to try and play a little bit quicker here, too. This is a match that could definitely go long and come down to the timers. They have 2 copies of main deck Negate here. They didn't have it for Mazemind Tome earlier, but they've drawn some cards since then. They could have also just prioritized not countering the Mazemind Tome if they have Emergent Ultimatum and just want to protect that from my discard spells. It could be right here, too, to like get the Nightmare down this turn, just so we could set up the discard on Suspend 1, but I think I'd like to wait till next turn to do that so I can keep drawing with the Mazemind Tome in the interim to generate card advantage. My opponent can hide an Ultimatum on top of their deck here with the Omen of the Sea this turn. If they have Ultimatum on 7, there's a good chance we just die, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, their hand's not very good here, and they bottomed something a second ago, so I think we just take the Binding of the Old Gods here. I wonder if they drew the Binding. I feel like if they had it last turn, they probably wanted to kill the Tome. Maybe they're undervaluing how much card advantage this can give. It could have also been right to take the Yorion here, because the Yorion's going to draw them a card, I suppose. I can see that. Taking the Yorion, it does. Taking the Yorion gives them the least likely chance to find the Ultimatum, which is the card that's most likely to beat me. Say, maybe I'm supposed to leave them the Bindings and let them kill the Tome, because the Tome's already drawn 2 cards at that point. Yeah, I think reflecting on it, that Agonizing Remorse was actually wrong, what I took. I was thinking I didn't really care about the Oring Side removal spells, but the fact that it blinks the Omen of the Sea makes it a big deal. And they have the green source for their ultimatum here. So I assume, like I said, if they have it, we're just going to die here. Yep. I guess maybe we can power through it. I just can't give them bulky, right? I have a Heartless Act. I have Binding. They take, like, extra turn plus Thornclicks here might be okay. Yeah, so I just, like, say, you can't have Valki. I kill this with Heartless Act. They take an extra turn. They hit me for 10 total, but then we can probably power through the board a little bit. You can't give them Valki with the Thornclicks because you can't have them ult the Valki because then they get to get another turn back. So do I want to scry with this before this comes into play? Basically, do I want the extra counter or do I want to gain the life sooner? I think the way my hand is set up, I want to just gain the life sooner. I don't think the scry really matters. So we're going to 9 here, like I said. Is that lethal? Not quite. It's one off, right? Extra turn cards. Always healthy and interesting gameplay. So our opponent has exactly 2 copies of Epiphany in their deck too. Pretty unfortunate for us. Even if we're likely to beat it here, there's value in burning time off their clock too. Like I said, this is a match that could go long. Yeah, I definitely think my mistake this game was taking their Binding as opposed to taking their Yorion. If I would have taken their Yorion, I'd be in a much different spot. Definitely worse off for not having done that. Not that I wanted to scry there anyways, Magic Arena. So I get to do this and kill this. And then we get to scry with this. I think I'm on the 0 outer though. I would have had a Klothys. I should have taken the Yorion with the discard spell, and then we wouldn't have been under so much pressure here when they ended up drawing a Time Walk along with the other one I had to give them. They would have killed my Mazemind Tome, but it just wouldn't have really mattered, right? So they're going to get to take my Shatterskull Smashing here. And I'm still too far off of Ugin for that to be anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my auto pass and let them take their game actions here. They know all the cards in my deck list. There's no point in hiding anything. My Ugin is my only sweeper, right? Pretty sure. Shatterskull can only divide damage between 2 things, so you can't like pay 4 and kill all the birds. Games like this are ones that make it tough to get better a lot of the time too, because you're like I made a mistake this game, but the mistake was with my discard spell on turn 4, and like I'm losing this game on turn 8, right? So like there's one thing I could sit here and bitch about them having their second turn spell, which was lucky, but the actual answer is that like I messed up. If I take their threat away, we end up in a fine spot. Feels like my opponent's playing in full control mode, which is like more power to you. That's even more reason to make them actually kill me in every game if they're going to sit here and waste time on the clock. I don't know if Wilt comes in here actually. Necromentia and Duress for sure. Wilt might be okay. I'd rather have Wilt or Soul Shatter. I think I'd rather have Soul Shatter based on how that Yorion just played out. They've got a couple of comas in their sideboard too, which are pretty annoying. Gives me a good clean answer to that. That's not just Ugin. Ugin -7. Okay, let's make better choices this game, huh? Thanks to folks that are subbing and resubbing and stuff in the past, in the future, kind of. I guess it depends on how you look at it. I've got chat minimized during the delayed stream today, so I have to focus a little bit more. Not that I'm very good at it, as we saw by making a poor mistake with my card in the first game. So I have Triome on one here. Pretty sure we played this, so we can go into this. So that way any third land we draw that's untapped could happen here. I guess there could be merit to like playing this on 2, so that way we guaranteed play this on 3. But like I also don't like need to rush into playing this, I don't think. And getting Mazemind down early sounds really appealing. And now I think if they pass with like negate up here, I'll probably just go tap land, draw a card. But if they tap out or play a tap land, we'll play the Necromentia and take their ultimatums away. Post board, they have 2 Duress, 1 extra negate, and 2 disputes they could bring in. I wouldn't be surprised to see dispute come in as just like bad mana leak here, because my deck's got a lot of expensive stuff in it. Yeah, so with them passing here like that, I think we just go ahead and play this and pass back. Yeah, it looks like my opponent's just playing this match on full control mode. They're super serious about this thing. This tournament's got some prizes, but like, it's pretty far from like a Pro Tour or something super serious. I'm mostly playing on a delay because it gives me an excuse to ignore chat. Try and be a little bit more focused. Contrary to what Reddit threads would have you believe, reading Twitch chat while you stream Magic is not a competitive advantage. It puts you at a pretty big disadvantage, splitting your focus. One question I have to decide is, what's more valuable? This being a removal spell later, or this being something I can cycle? I'm actually not sure on that front. Huh. So, I think there's a good chance Essence Scatters come out against me, so I think I'm just jamming Klothys here. This doesn't get negated, and they don't have Mystic to speed up. Putting Sticky Klothys into play early sounds great. I'm going to hold on to the Hagra Mauling for now. Could go either way on that, though. And, like, this is exactly the plan. We get Klothys down to start poking them for damages, and then we Necromentia and take away their emergent ultimatum, so the game can just go long and this card can burn them out. It's basically the TLDR of our post-board game plan here. This gets the name Emergent Ultimatum. Yeah, look at that. And they had the negates there, and then they just couldn't cast them because we had Klothys. Yeah, so confirming that they brought in the copies of Coma, might want the 3rd Soul Shatter for the last game. It's good to know. But we get to get rid of all of their combo card here. And then I think I actually want to just go ahead and play this out as a Bolt hand here and go ahead and draw a card with my Mazemind this turn. I expect we'll see a Naked Nightmare happen here as suspend 1 Duress. Got it. We'll throw this under the table here, so to speak. Let's get my auto pass value in here again. And if they elect not to negate this, I think I take their Omen of the Sea here. So that way they can't generate card advantage with the Yorion down the line. And then I think I was going to go ahead and play the Mazemind Tome here, because I'm going to get to take it away with this anyways. You get to take this card with your Elspeth's Nightmare. I feel like my opponent's undervaluing the Mazemind Tomes here. Like if they don't find a binding, these are each a draw for. It takes a while, but we're going to have a while in this matchup. Generally speaking, based on my experience playing it. Although I would assume like we're playing a pretty off-meta deck that our opponent like hasn't played against something that we're playing before, so I guess they've got a lot of looks to find binding here. Coma's probably their scariest card at this point. They're at Coma mana this turn. If they find Coma, I have a pretty narrow window to find Soul Shatter. Should probably put a stop on my upkeep just in case they drop the snake here. They did double top with the Cosmos there. It's a little scary. It's a binding. Yep. So only get to draw once with one of the Mazemind Tomes, which is a little sad, but that's what it is. Ooh, that's a good one. My opponent, I believe, had boarded out all of their answers to this card, if I recall correctly, when we looked through their deck. I don't believe I saw Eliminates in there. I should have checked for Eliminates when we looked. They're debating drawing their Yorion here if they want to put their shields down. I'm only on 6 manas. Like the worst I could do is like a Tibalt next turn, and they could blink the Binding of the Old Gods if that's the case, and they wanna blink it here anyway. So I think because they're setting up to blink the Binding, I go ahead and activate the Mazemind Tome with a Scry here because they're going to kill it next turn otherwise. Might as well take my free value Scry. I want to target something out of my graveyard here because my graveyard's about to be exiled by the Elspeth's Nightmare. I could play this other tome out, but then it's going to get blinked by Binding and killed, so I think we just pass here. I suppose I could draw a copy of... I could draw a discard spell here, actually, right? And take the Yorion away, so we should do this now. Or I could draw Binding. Does Binding for their Binding do anything? Not really. I think I'm going to go ahead and cycle this right now, actually. Again, looking for Agonizing Remorse for this Yorion.
I have greater matters to attend to.
And again, like, Klothys here does a pretty okay job of racing Yorion all on her own. Especially when you factor my Crawling Barrens into the mix. And then I think at this point we go ahead and play Binding, and then if they negate, we get an opportunity to stick Mazemind Tome. They only have 1 blue mana up here. Down to 25, but like they're dead in 6, and we are dead in much more than 6, which is great. I think there's a reason to target. I guess the stuff in my graveyard could be going away to a copy of the word I'm searching for. Could be going away to a copy of Elspeth's Nightmare, so maybe I should prioritize that first in case I run out of targets. Alright, so that happens, and then I have a land I can play here so we can Binding around their Mystical Dispute. They could make me pay for this, denying me a card draw with Mazemind Tome, which is fine, we'll pay it and kill their Yorion. Like I said, they literally don't have a way to take Klothys off the table, and they're 75, so unless we Ugin and minus it, it's sticking around. Yeah, your copy and negate results, that's fine. Honestly, it could have been right to just smack them with Crawling Barrens this turn. Maybe I'm supposed to Necromentia there. Just like get the Dispute out of their hand. I guess it's probably better to draw a card with those. I think I'm gonna take away their extra turn spell this turn. How close to that are they? I have plenty of things over here. Puts them to 8. Crawling Barrens can put them to 4. That's probably better, right? It is better to take their extra turn spells away. If they go running extra turn spells, it's a little annoying. Take one more look at their deck here. Take Aldurin's Epiphany away here. They might just concede to this too, not let me look at their deck another time. Yeah. They know they don't have an answer to Klothys. Okay, sweet. So that went exactly like we drew it up. I punted the first game. Let's take a deep breath and get ready for the next one. We know they brought in Coma. Does that mean I want Soul Shatter? I think so is the answer. I think on the draw, especially, I can afford to trim a mana source. I'm at effectively 30 lands. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to cut a Mauling here. Mauling like pseudo answers Coma at instant speed at the end of their turn if they don't have counter spells up, but there's a good chance they're going to be able to like play it with negate up. So the fact that Soul Shatter allows me to be a little bit more in control of the timing has a lot of value. Wonder if we'll see them go back to the drawing board. I wonder if, like, after that game, if we'll see them, like, board the Essence Scatters back in, realizing how important Klothys is. Card's real narrow, though, right? Because, like, I'm never casting the Valki half of Tibalt in this matchup, so it's, like, exactly for Klothys. But, again, Klothys is just so important. They just can't take it off the board. Yep, sounds good. All of our colors have been a Mazemind Tome. Sign me up. I could be right to trim a Binding in this matchup too, honestly, as opposed to the Mauling, if I wanted an extra thing. Be fine though. We're just jamming this Tome on 2, even if they represent negate. Deal. I think I'm probably scrying here. Would like to find a discard spell. If we find one of our 2 copies of Duress, we could Duress plus draw with Tome this turn. Ooh, you have a binding. You do. Klothys, please. Klothys, please. Never forget, this stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Thanks for dropping in today. And the Necromentia. Shit. I think this is more important. I don't know. Could go either way. Got a Nightmare coming down here. If they have Nightmare plus untapped land negate, cultivate. Alright, so they have the untapped land. The question is, do they have the negate? They didn't have the negate for the Mazemind Tome. I guess they could have had the negate for the Mazemind Tome and just declined to play it. I think we're definitely jamming the Necromentia here. Because they can ultimatum us next turn, so definitely have to just YOLO this, I think. And maybe a situation like this is why it's correct to play the Necromentia last turn instead of... A situation like this is why it's correct to play the Necromentia last turn instead of the Klothys, because they can't negate Klothys. This is a creature when it's on the stack. They're gonna ultimatum and kill us here now. Yeah, I think I made wrong choices. I think the Klothys on 3 was wrong. The Klothys on 4. Yeah, I messed up. Yep, so yeah, I should have gone with my gut and just cast the Necromentia there. So first game, I should have taken their Yorion with the Agonizing Remorse, and then we wouldn't have gotten beat down like we did in the third game. I should have prioritized Necromentia over Klothys on 4 because I should have prioritized Necromentia over Klothys on 4 because Klothys couldn't get negated, whereas Necromentia does. So. Alright, we're playing against Droll Adventures here. 3 Great Henge, 3 Ember Cleave, 1 main deck Klothys, couple of Innkeep, couple of Dragons in the main, couple of Scavenging Ooze, couple of Questing Beast. Pretty stock. Lost the die roll, it's a bad start. I think this is a matchup where I bring in some number of deadweight. It kills Brushfire and it kills Innkeeper. Can I keep this on the draw? I don't know that I can. My opponent's got a lot of basics, so Hagra is almost assuredly going to be 4 mana. Yeah, this is much better. Bottom of Binding here. Obviously want to draw an untapped land in our first 2 draws, but definitely better than 5. Hand's super reasonable. Hand's like actually good if we draw an untapped land in 2 draws. It could play a Mammoth next turn. I think I want to play the Mazemind Tome. My next 2 lands lined up, although already, so that could be wrong too. Looks like they're gonna get stepped on here. I want to start working this up just to be able to gain life down the line. I'm pretty sure this is just like an all Heartless Axe on deck matchup. I'm going to go ahead and put this into play tapped, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass back here. This does not enable turn 4. This does not enable turn 4 Henge, so I can let that go, because if they play one of their 2 Questing Beasts here, I'd rather Heartless Act that. That being said, no other plays, definitely killing this before it hits us. I'd love an untapped land next turn to be able to draw plus Heartless Act this Lovestruck Beast. Perfect. Could also potentially just double Heartless Act, and then here, with the threat of Henge happening next turn, we will go ahead and just proactively kill this one. Now, the last two counters on this tome, I probably want to be card draws. Need a little bit of advantage at this point. We generate some 2-for-1s. What if they have a Dargon here? No haste creature. Straight for the home team. No play at all. Even better. Valki is great. That gives us some card advantage down the line here. Feels like this one should be hopefully done at this point. It's going to take us a little bit to close, but... get the second one working up towards its ability to pop off here. I'm going to go ahead and play the Crawling Barrens out. And then we can draw... I probably just wanted... Maybe I'm supposed to play this, actually, and just double draw this turn. It's actually pretty annoying. Can't Heartless Act that one. Decline turning it into a creature so they can't step on it. I kill that one before it does its thing. And then we technically have enough mana to Ugin next turn, but I think I'm at a point where I'd rather just get these tombs going. True, I'm at 12. It's actually not true. Let's just do this and kill the Chokehold. I can, like, questing beasts and stuff next turn, but, like, I can scry with this to go to 16, so... should be pretty done here. Getting Ugin to ultimate means we get to done even faster.
Consider this a warning.
This might even prompt a concession. Yeah, those are cards. And I guess that's what about is in our hand. And I mean, like, things like a Cronin War are actually part of why I built this deck the way I did. There's no creatures in it. Like, being able to just blank cards like War Game 1 is really strong. And being able to blank removal spells out of the control decks and stuff. You gain virtual card advantage by doing that. Oh, sure. Yeah, they technically get to drop a house on Ugin here, right? Yeah, sure. Got him.
I did all I deemed appropriate.
I'd actually rather Valki before I Ugin here. He generates card advantage.
So many painful memories.
Crunch. You made this? I made this. That's fair. or Tybalt.
Your energy. Surely you can handle a little pain.
Power without wisdom. Violence.
Our opponent is like, read Duke School of Never Concede. God bless him. I'll sit here and activate my Planeswalkers. I got all day. I signed up to play in a tournament. I'm gonna get all the value from my tournament play, okay, chat?
Let's play a little game.
We paid money to play in this tournament. We're gonna get all the value, take all of the game actions. They belong to us. This technically could have hit for 2 more, but who cares? Nobody's counting. It's no big. They can kill Ugin and Brushfire Elemental with this Shatterskull Smashing. Oh, yeah, you got it. In it to win it, opponent. Got me. I think they're dead to the Crawling Barrens next turn, right?
Proceed in my stead, Planeswalker.
Not quite. Am I short? Can I have a land? Yes, exactly lethal. Well, 1 over, but you know. Enough. Not exactly enough to make it lethal. Thunk. Guess we'll stop playing with our food. Alright, so eliminate here is great. Soul Shatter is fine. Wilt is great. I think this is a deadweight matchup. I think this is not an Elspeth's Nightmare matchup. I feel about Klothys. So Klothys gaining us a little bit of life has a lot of appeal to it, but spending 3 mana to technically not impact the board doesn't. It feels like a 1 Klothys at most matchup. Maybe we just cut all of them here. The Groll deck tends to kill us in large chunks. I think I'd leave 2 or even 3 of these in against like mono red or like white weenie aggro, but I think here the just couple of points here and there just don't add up to enough. Need 4 more cuts here. I wonder if Agonizing Remorse is good enough. It's kind of nice to be able to poke through their hand, but like again, especially on the draw, I feel like as many of my cards as possible need to be playing to the board. And like this is my card that like I want to play on 2 that explicitly doesn't do that already. Let's give that a try. Deadweight. 4 deadweights might be overkill too. On the draw, they seem especially good though for making up tempo. Killing Edgewall Innkeeper at an even rate seems potentially very useful. So this team technically doesn't have a green land, but we also don't really need one. We could cycle this. We've got time and some scries as well. Deadweight. It's never lucky. We just 1-for-1 them up the curve here. To kill that before it draws a card, and then again we'll prioritize using the Soul Shatter before they get to untap and play Henge on 4. Especially with no green in sight. And then, assuming we brick on green next turn, we can go Mazemind Tome draw a card, which is a little bit not great if they have another big threat to add to the board, but it's better than not doing anything with our mana at least. Green source there would have been ideal. I think I just keep killing their stuff. I think I just keep killing their stuff. I don't want to do this. I like, if they have second questing beast exactly, they have exactly 2 in their 75. I'm a little bit sad about doing this proactively, but again, if they had 5th land, this would enable Henge this turn, which I'd prefer not to do for them. Untap green source, the best draw possible, being able to kill this. So actually, interesting note here, if I would have elected to play this tap, or on red, I would have been able to Shatterskull both of these this turn, which could have potentially been good. They run in Wilts, okay. I think I'm about to cycle my own. Could be dead here as well if they have a hasty monster. Yep. I think I'm at a point where I'm cycling that. Are technically not dead on board because of Crawling Barrens. Dead to stomp. Yeah, it's interesting. If I would have played my Blightstep Pathway on red, I could have killed the 1/1s and then stopped the Lovestruck Beast and left ourselves at 5. I guess they did end up drawing the Edgewall Innkeeper, which would have enabled the Lovestruck Beast in line, so maybe I still end up losing there despite that. You saw there, I quickly trimmed the 4th deadweight to bring a Klothys back in. So I think being able to gain a little bit of life is good, especially if they're bringing in their copies of Wilts to tag my copies of Mazemind Tome, which is our primary way to gain life. Bringing in an alternative way to do that seems good. Being able to stabilize at life totals where you don't randomly die to 4-power haste creatures or stomps like in that last game is good. Like if they hadn't had the stomp or if I'd been able to gain a little bit of life, we would have been able to pull that out potentially. It's like we were one turn off of Ugin on the draw, so needed that bit of life from the Mazemind Tome. So we're really hoping to find 1, 2, or 3 mana piece of removal for the 3rd turn of the game. I put this mulligan to 5. That's a good start for the home team. So this hand is all of our colors though, and we're on the play. Like I think I would snap mulligan this hand on the draw, but I think on the play with the Mazemind Tome, so we get draw step on 2 and 3 and 2 scribes with the Mazemind Tome. So I get 4 looks at one of our 1 or 2 mana pieces of removal, or 3. Draw Soul Shatter on that turn as well. So even before my opponent mulligans, making this better for us, I think this hand is fine. Not good, but definitely in the range of keepable. Are we wilted, or do you have a threat? You have a threat. All right. So looking for a way to kill this. I'm gonna miss. Swing and a miss. Yikes. All right. Well, that's how magic goes sometimes. Not just dead here by any means, but if their hand is decent, missing the tempo of missing a play this turn that impacts the board's a big deal. Okay, so this is okay-ish for us. It ran right on time. It means that play means that this puts us at board parity, which is nice. And then I drew another removal spell here to be able to catch their follow-up threat. So like now we're hoping to draw like Ugin's Tibalt, some more Mazemind Tomes. So we're looking for some card advantage to pull us through here at this point. Honestly, they don't have any way to kill this Crawling Barrens for 2 for 1 mana, right? They don't have any shocks or anything like that. I think I might just get in for 2 here. Could be right, just hold up Soul Shatter, though. They like Dragon me next turn, it's real bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass. The two damage doesn't ultimately matter. And I can activate this at the end of their turn if they don't give me something to shatter. Yeah, if I had activated Crawling Barrens and I got Gold Spans, I'd be real sad. Because it would unlock even more mana for them. This is our 7th mana. So looking for a source of card advantage at this point so we can pull out ahead now that we've stabilized the board like we have. Definitely not firing up Barrens to try and block that. That's a trap. Let's cycle this to start, and then we can put 2 counters on Barrens. Or we can cycle again. That's why we cycled first. Okay. Soul Seer. Okay. Yeah, I just want to, like, dumpster my Planeswalkers into Questing Beast. Okay, that's a very good... Like, that's a series of cards they could have to get them out of Ugin here in their green-red deck.
My research has concluded.
Alright, Crawly Beat. Time to go to work. If they have more Questing Beasts and Dragons, we could be in trouble here. This is like a little scary, maybe. Well, there are lands in my bin. Maybe I'm supposed to hold these up here.
In my stead, Planeswalker.
Let's play a little game.
I could even be wrong to do this since Klothys is bearing down on us here. I guess this could technically get us to another Ugin, which can take this off the board. You know.
Surely you can handle a little pain.
Always consider the consequences of your fate.
Yep. So, close game 2. If I'd have been a little bit, hit my tempo a little bit different, might have been okay there. Took games 1 and 3 pretty handily there. Klothys a little annoying at the end, but Ugin giving us a solid answer to it. Match started. They're playing a build that respects aggro a little bit more than most of these builds do. They've got Eliminate and Heartless Act, 7 copies between the two of them. They've got 3 Shadows Verdict and 2 Extinction Events. In general, their number of dead cards, I think, is a pretty big positive for us. Like, their only counter spells in the main are, like, 2 Jawari Disruption, it looks like. Which, I think this is a really smart build. I actually, so while the opponent's build is, like, less good against a deck like ours, I think their build in general is really well set up. I think they're... You know, it's funny, I've actually just noticed the name. This is someone I used to play with in paper SCG Tour events. They've got 2 copies of Disruption. And, like, do I jam into copies of Disruption or not here? I feel like the answer is no. Looks like they just have Omen or Shark Typhoon. Yeah, Cultivate here on curve. Yeah, it's really good. If they go Cultivate into Sultimatum, it's gonna be bad news bears for us. think we just play Klothys out ASAP next turn to try and get that that damage going. Ideally, we just feed their 4 copies of Ultimatum for a little bit in their 80 card deck, and this card just grinds them out. By grinds them out, I mean slowly burns them to death. I don't think they have a way... They don't have a way in their main deck to take Klothys off the table. They don't... Yeah, they don't have a way in their 75 to take Klothys off the table, which is good to know. So their only cards in their 60 that foretell are Aldruin's Epiphanies. So that is an extra turn card there. And I imagine this is going to be them digging to an ultimatum here. Because if they find an ultimatum and they have lands, they can Epiphany this turn and then ultimatum the following turns using Epiphany as a ramp spell, basically, that makes a couple of birds. So expecting to see an extra turn here. Yep, we know this is resolving. Can we beat an ultimatum here? Maybe? Probably not. Come on, draw the Orient. Oh. Yeah, I mean, sure. That's a legal play. The Shatterskull Smashing might be in kill 2 birds mode this game. The Klothys being a thing that happens here can help us race these as well, which is nice. If they have an 8th land, they could draw the Orient and play it here. Hardcast Shark Typhoon, sure. Yeah, they're just going on the beatdowns. I mean, they have to against the Klothys, right? Alright, so untapped land tier means I'm just going to draw for the turn. I was thinking I wanted to scry. Well, I guess if I missed the land, I could have made a mana with this, right? So I definitely need to kill this Shark Typhoon here. Well, you know what? I could have made a mana so I could draw a card with this turn. And then use that mana on the binding, and then use the mana, the other thing, to draw. That might have been a good idea. This is a second red for this double line at least. Let's see if they could have an Omen in the Seas here. If they have an Omen and they get to Omen, make it 2/2, that's quite a bit of pressure. Yeah, it feels like what this is here. Well, they're just disruptioning to make a 2/2/2, sure. Okay. So not making a mana didn't really matter here. This gives us plenty of gas in the tank for, gives us gas in the tank for the Klothys, though, which is nice. So they're out of turn spells. My opponent only has 2 copies of their turn spells in their deck. And they have enough mana to play Yorion here if they'd like, which I honestly wouldn't be super surprised to see. They're gonna blink this, probably. Really know what I'm looking for? Not that. I'm basically just looking for removed spells at this point, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Land is 6 mana. I think I'm supposed to binding this so it can't Klothys me. Or so they can't Yorion me with it next turn. Like, it's going to take a card and then Yorion's going to reset it. And like with Klothys gaining us life and the Mazemind Tome ready to pop off for 4 more, we're in an okay-ish spot. Taking 5 here. But the actual, like, racing math is super awkward because of how much life I can gain. I assume... Oh, they're still not playing the Yorion out. That kind of surprises me. I guess they want to get value off of it. But, like, they know... I guess they know I have Ugin. I'd say they know I'm not on sweepers, but I do technically have Ugin. So this is 5 mana to kill their things. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can still draw with this. Yeah, I guess I don't need mana off of this. This is probably a blank, right? I'm trying to think, like, what's a card they could be playing that they wouldn't have played yet. I'm going to draw now, because I want to cycle this, and I want this to be a removal spell, so if I draw lands here, I want to play it. And now, we're officially winning this race, right? Like, we're basically taking 1 per turn, and they're taking 2 per turn. Kinda wish I would have kept that Crawling Barrens now, from earlier. Oh, you know what? I should technically exile cards out of my own graveyard because I don't use cards out of my own graveyard, and they could Elspeth's Nightmare us at some point, which would give us a finite use for cards in our bin. 6. Okay, yeah, removal spells make sense. This pause is scary. What if they're trying to decide if they find? Hopefully, they're just trying to decide if they finally want a Yorion, and it's not we drew an ultimatum pause. They're through both their extra turn cards, so maybe Ultimatum's not that scary with Ugin in hand and Mauling. Like I've got 3 decent answers. And I think I just Mauling and then Ugin sweep the birds. Ha! That actually doesn't matter, right? So they get to take Klothys here, but then Ugin gets to -2. And I think, especially with their extra turn spells used at this point, that we're at a point where we can beat an ultimatum.
I come bearing the wisdom of the ancients. Return to the essence of the multiverse.
Then Ugin helps close the game out here.
My flames burn beyond perception.
Sweet. So what's their sideboard got? Their sideboard has 3 Duress, 3 Negate, 2 Mystic Dispute, 2 Coma, a Disdainful Stroke, and a Toski. I think Coma and Toski means I want my Soul Shatters. I definitely want my Duresses and my Necromentias. Heartless Acts come out here. Elspeth's Nightmares come out here. Probably Mauling as the last trim is what I've been doing. They have 4 Mazemind Tomes in their deck, which gives Binding of the Old Gods a little bit more value than it otherwise would have. That sounds good. We count our spell lands as lands. We have 30 lands in this deck, so I think it's fine to trim 1 Mauling in this matchup. Although, maybe the fact that I'm boarding in a double black card on 3 means I'm supposed to trim a Shatterskull as opposed to a Mauling. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe we'll switch that back on for the 3rd game, if we have one. Lands and a discard spell. Sign me up. Don't duress me first. Don't do it. This could even be a hand where this Triome gets cycled. I think it's just the Mazemind Tome. I just take their draw 4. There's no way a game like this doesn't last where that's not a draw 4. Immediately punished. I guess if they played it on 2, they would have drawn enough cards with it that, yeah, it's probably still correct. This is a green source. So, especially in a hand like this, where I've got double Ugin in my hand tier, I think there's a good chance this Binding of the Old Gods ends up killing this Omen of the Sea before it can get blinked by a Yorion. We'll see what else they do, obviously, but wouldn't be surprised if that's the line we end up taking here. Like, you don't mind playing this out as a ramp spell and getting a little bit of value off killing that is fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and cycle the Zagoth Triome here. Yeah, I think my line is cycle Zagoth Triome, untap Bolt Land, bind this. They have 2 mana up right now. I could get Disruption or negated here, but like that's fine. The fact that I like cycle the land is like kind of indicative of the fact that I've got a lot of mana, so like this is like a 1-for-1. I'm like happy to get the ramp, but I'm like really not sad if this eats a counterspell either. They're getting birds early, and I don't have a Klothys in sight. Birds on 6 is pretty good for them, this matchup. I could perhaps see mulliganing a little bit more aggressively, considering I have 7 good 3-mana cards in this matchup. Like, maybe I'm supposed to, like, throw back 7s that don't have Klothys or Necromentia in them. I could see that being a reasonable play. I assume we're going to lose an Ugin here. I guess if they have 2 counterspells rolled up, they take the Soul Shatter. Them taking the Soul Shatter, I feel like, communicates their hand is real bad for us. Because, like, I think you only take this card if you have, like, answers up for these. Okay, sweet. So, maybe this is gonna happen. Maybe. Ooh, that's real scary. Okay, so we're really hoping to draw a Remorse or a Duress, so we can try and clear for Ugin down the line here. It's a fantastic draw. I have all my colors at this point, right? If they have a counterspell, it's happening on this one for sure, because they know about the Ugin. Yeah, this not only kills their Chariot, but it gets me to Ugin faster. There is a good chance that they kill us before this Ugin can happen now. if they have an untapped land here, they actually get to draw and play the Chariot, or draw and blink the Chariot, which would probably put us to dead on board next turn, I think. Quick maths. Okay. Was I supposed to do this before they untapped? That's lethal, right? I do this. No, it's too short, huh? I guess this could be a counterspell. Yeah, definitely did the negate. I mean, a game like that tells me that I'm not supposed to mulligan aggressively. I think I am going to switch this for this. I think that's like a pretty fortunate hand out of my opponent too. Like, I know it's like playing a game like that, a very knee-jerky response could be like, oh gosh, I need to board in removal spells. Like, a game like that doesn't happen. But like, my opponent's playing 2 Chariots, 1 Vorn Clicks, 2 Aldurin's Epiphanies, so like the number of games they're gonna have that look like that game that we just played are like pretty few and far between, right? And then like had the Cultivate on 3 as well to facilitate all of that also. Like the amount of times where I put it gets to be a beatdown deck like that are pretty few and far. All right, I mean, I see it needs some colors, but Mazemind Tome is hopefully gonna whisper some sweet scries into our ears. There's a lot of spells that we're looking to have here. If they duress me on one and take my Mazemind Tome, we could just not play a game here. I think if I brick on land with the scry, I'm just taking a draw, because on my turn 3, I'm probably just drawing a card rather than scrying. I don't really need to play any of these cards out immediately. These cards are cards I'm interested in casting, and Klothys we can't play because we're on double swamp to start. Nailed it. Omen of the Sea, Omen of the Sea. Do 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 do. I might want to scry next turn depending on what they do. Let's see. I probably just want to draw a card though. I feel like drawing a card is likely what I want to be doing. Man, Cultivate on 3 every game in the 80 card deck is really good. Just gonna take a draw step here. Perfect. Show me all secrets. Double binding, Mazemind Tome, Cultivate. I think I'm again just taking this. Like, not only do they have 2 bindings, but like if they want to bind this Mazemind Tome, it's already drawn 2 cards. So it's gonna draw a 3rd this turn. So like, you know, it's on its thing. Really love an untapped source to play this. Now we're at the part of the game where like they can draw ultimatum at any point, and I've stumbled, so we just won't have a chance if they do. And I bet we won't see them draw the Yorion this turn because I have Agonizing Remorse and they have plenty of mana. Yeah, it's smart. I also have Valki, which they know about from the open deck list. Don't need double green. We do need Soul Shatter for double red. Klothys is technically a ramp spell, right? Oh, they haven't cracked Fable Passage yet, actually. I think this is still correct to play. It could be right to binding their Omen here. But they're sacking it anyways. Okay, that kind of surprises me. I guess they just want to play Ultimatum next turn if they can find it. That makes sense. The card's kind of lights out at this point. Bottoms up is good for our hero. And they didn't find the thing. And then they'll likely want to avoid. Okay. I mean, did they draw the Ultimatum then? I feel like they'd want to avoid that because they just shuffled bottom, and that gives me a mana towards my Klothys. They drew Ultimatum though, it doesn't matter. Epiphany. Sure. I mean, technically, Klothys races the birds A-okay. And they tapped off of blue mana here, signifying that their mystery card is not a counterspell, which is great. They don't interact with their graveyard at all, so I think, again, we focus on taking cards out of our bin on the off chance that they draw Elspeth Conqueror's Death, or Elspeth's Nightmare. That exiles my graveyard and can limit Klothys on food, although it's probably going to be a non-issue this game. We're getting to the point where the Emergent Ultimatum isn't just certain deaths, so that's a good feeling. We're like getting developed enough on board that we could maybe play through it. This gets us a land. Black source is fine. I can't afford to run into an eliminate, so I think I just passed the turn here. We'll activate Crawling Barrens at the end of their turn if they don't give us something to Soul Shatter. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stick a Valki here. We need to get through counter spells at some point. I can do that. It was a good time to play Valki, chat. I could feel it in my bones. We needed the Valki.
Oh, come now, let me have my fun.
Let me have my fun.
Make no mistake, I'm not nice.
I think I do this to start because if I draw Necromentia, I want to play it. Because again, I think Emergent Ultimatum is the way we lose this game. Even then, it's not a guarantee, but I would feel better if they couldn't draw it. It's also possible I should have made a mana here. I was hoping to draw a land with this, but we didn't. Or did we? I forget if we played a land this turn. This is a pretty, like, traditional, my opponent's a little flooded. I mana stream, but my opponent's a little flooded. I think we just keep hitting them.
So many painful memories.
The fact that I keep drawing their ultimatums is kind of insult to injury. I can actually sack their Omen of the Sea to scry too, because I have the I have these blues in here. I haven't played a land yet this turn, right? Nope. Yep, Intercept. Definitely in for mana. We've been very fortunate this game. Like, the fact that we drew both of these is like, you know, solidly above average.
Oh, go fight someone else. Let's play a little game.
I don't even really care if they look at my hand rate.
Peace is fragile. Ghost fire. My greatest creation.
Trickery is just a make no mistake. I'm not nice.
Are they dead this turn?
Resilient.
I think they're dead to Crawling Barrens, right? This puts them to 8. This puts them to 5. I can activate Crawling Barrens twice.
I will destroy if I must.
Yeah, tough third game there for them. Like I said, I think we were pretty fortunate. They flooded a little bit. They have a lot of mana in their deck with cultivates and ramp stuff too, but like the emergent ultimatum hits, the fact that like we drew their ultimatums that they didn't was a big check in our favor for sure. Opponent is playing mono green food mid-range. It says mid-range. It's kind of aggressive. I guess it's kind of mid-range. Here's 3 Trail of Comes, 3 Great Henge, Wicked Wolf, Flora Hedron. Man, Ugin loves this deck. They've got 3 Crawling Barrens in their mana base, is something to take note of. Happy that I've got both my Maulings in the main deck and some Eliminates in the board. This will be a matchup where we want to bring Wilt in for both the Trails and the Witches' Ovens. The Trails, Ovens, and Hedges. Binding of the Gods looking swell as well. Lost the die roll. It seems fine. Is it fine? Maybe it's not. This hand might have been a trap. I don't know, we'll see. Got Mazemind Tome. See if we can scry ourselves up something useful here. Do they have an old growth troll on? 2. They have 3 of those. I suppose they could have a turn 2 mammoth as well. So I've got 4 Agonizing Remorse, 4 Heartless Act in my deck. I think we take a Scry. I think we take a Scry during my upkeep too, looking for a 2 mana piece interaction here. If we brick off, we could play Valki or second Mazemind potentially. It's like not exactly what we were looking for, but it could be worse. So there's still a number of turns off the Troll King. The Wicked Wolf could theoretically... I guess if they draw a land, they're technically on the Troll King the following turn. I think I take the Troll King and hope they brick land this turn. They draw lands here and crack us for 10 and play a wolf. We're probably dead. Come on, go to combat. Okay, so they get 2 more looks at a land with the goose here. They get to sleight of hand with the Trail of Crumbs. I guess I could have taken the trail and really hoped they bricked. Just another goose, sure. We scrying at my upkeep, maybe? No, I don't think so, actually. I'm playing Binding this turn anyways, right? Might as well see what we get. We're definitely scrying at end of turn, though, because I want to gain 4 with this on my next turn. Okay, found the land, so we're looking for... What am I looking for? Just removal spells at this point? I assume we're going to see them play the wolf out here. They're probably looking at our deck list to see what we have. They're going to see that I don't have a sweeper, and they're going to play the wolf. Yeah, I think we're scrying with this again. I would level 1 or 2 mana piece of removal here. Okay, so, like, Valki means we're, like, technically not dead, but, like, we're mostly dead, right? This is only land 6. Yeah, the play versus the draw is huge here, right? Oh my gosh. Is that the best draw in our deck? I think that was the best hit out of their deck, so I could get to play this and then make this a 5/5 now? So they can eat the food to save the wolf, but then I get to trade with the other wolf inside of combat? Because they have to fight this time, right? Because they chose this as a target to fight. So I just take this hit now, right? If I draw a piece of 2 mana removal here, we're even Soul Shatter is good because I drew the untapped land. If I don't, we're gonna die here. Yeah. They have a ton of looks at a land tier. And if they play a land, both the Mammoth and the Wicked Wolf are lethal. Yeah. It was maybe a little too slow. I don't know. Probably the fact that we were on the draw probably meant it was too slow. We're just like one turn off of just like winning this game by a lot. Although Crawling be there would have been real bad news for us. All right, so Nightmare's real bad. Eliminate's great. Soul Shatter's great. Wilt is great. I think I actually want a couple of Remorses in this matchup. Valki actually seems pretty okay too. Maybe I'd just rather have Valki. Klothys. My opponent doesn't have reach. Maybe it's just Klothys out. I don't feel like I need the win con here, and Ugin being able to sweep up is super important. What's my opponent boarding in? They have some Thrashing Brontodons, and some Questing Beasts. They're gonna bring Questing Beast and Toski against me. Yeah, I think leaving the discard spells in is fine here. I have a lot of high impact cards I'd like to take away from them. Yeah, I needed to hit one more piece of removal there early. By this much. The love struck beast was really fortunate on the Valki. I wasn't thinking about that as a possible hit when I was sequencing. They also miffed up a little bit by making their wolf choose to fight it. You want to see like one Mazemind Tome in this matchup? Definitely don't want to see 3 of them. Like we did that game. At least not until super late. Yep, I mentioned Ugin is stellar in this matchup, but he's not stellar to the point where we want him in the opener. Red, black, green, all of our colors here is great. They have Goose on 1 again? That's rude. They don't really have a lot of good 2-drops in their deck, do they? They have 4 Tingle Florahedron, and like that's it. They don't have any Wilts out of their sideboard. They have a Return to Nature that they could be bringing in to kill Mazemind Tomes. Thrashing Brontodon seems unlikely. 4 mana to kill a Mazemind Tome seems pretty bad. Crawling Barrens is there. Probably want to prioritize holding on to Eliminate for that one down the line. They notably can't play Old Growth Troll. We could see another turn 2 Mammoth here. Lovestruck Beast isn't particularly good because they don't have other 1/1s. Just a Scavenging Ooze, sure. I bottom that, just looking for more action. I've got 2 more lands rolled up in my hand here, technically. They like Questing Beast us here. We Heartless Act it, and then we can untap and Shatterskull Smashing the Skews. It's just like attack with Skews pass. Like make a food. That'd be real good for us. We have like Trail of Crumbs here. Trail with Goose would be pretty good. Just a Lovestruck Beast token, yep. I think I'd love to draw a card here. And now I get to draw plus play a removal spell here. The tempo pacing on the play versus the draw is just so incredibly different. So they missed a land drop this turn, right? What if I Heartless Act the Scavenging Ooze, and then on my turn we Shatterskull these 2? That sounds great. Suppose they could have, like, another Lovestruck Beast, but that's literally their only other 1/1s in their deck. Oh, yeah, they could have Tangled Florahedron. I think this is still right, because they're choked on mana. And, like, if they play Florahedron to enable this, I'm, like, happy to kill that. I'm gonna draw here because I had Agonizing Remorse. I'd like to cast it. Wilt. Might be cycling that. We're gonna Heartless Act this Lovestruck Beast token this turn. If they make another 1/1, we'll eliminate that one. That is fine because I have the Wilt. I wasn't thinking about that, and I should have been, but I have the Wilt, so it's not a big deal. Oh god, and I just killed the Lovestruck Beast instead of the 1/1. Well, shit. I was just thinking about how I didn't kill the Lovestruck Beast that I should have, but now at this point I'm not going to, and then I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. Get back on track, huh? Damn, their hand is good.
Don't worry. I hold grudges.
This isn't particularly good against Feasting Troll King because it comes back. You can buy us a turn though. This game real sloppy. Out of card advantage at this point. Good. And like this time it wasn't a mistake to not play around Hedge off the top because when this dies it comes back as a thing that gets them back another troll later. I did this ramps them so it would have been able to ramp them to Feasting Troll King here otherwise. I need to draw like Tibalt this turn. Yeah, I think we're dead here. I needed to, and these games happen sometimes, so like we bottomed an Ugin earlier. Which was right at the time, but unfortunately, like, you know, now we're 19 cards into our deck, and I only saw one piece of card advantage. Like, you need to see, like, 2 Mazemind, a Mazemind and a Tibalt, an Ugin, etc. When you only see one of them, you just can't power through. I suppose if we see Tibalt here, Tibalt draws their Troll King for us, which could mean we could be okay. Yeah, I needed this a turn sooner, I think. I think I needed this a turn sooner.
I can work. Mine.
If I would have hit this last turn and plussed with it, we would have been in a fine spot here. With the Eliminate in hand. They might try and kill us here, which means with the Eliminate, we could not die, and then the card advantage from Tibalt could drag us kicking and screaming back into the game is a possibility. Like if they don't kill Tibalt. That being said, Henge is a lot of card advantage, but like Tibalt draws us 2 cards per turn, which is a lot of cards. We have 9 lands, so he's like, we need like 3. Yeah, you probably need like 2 spells in our 3 draws here. Because we have Troll King here too, potentially. Ugin -3 would be good here. We know one of those is on the bottom of our deck. We've got 2 shots at the other 2. We've got 2 Ugins and 38 cards. We get 2 draws at him. That is not a good hit. That's not going to be good enough either, is it?
My pain.
I think we're dead. This doesn't count as casting it from hand, so we're not going to get a food off of it. Dead to attack all here, unfortunately. I wonder if Ugin is just like good enough in this matchup that like when I scryed with this Mazemind Tome earlier, I'm supposed to just keep it. Because like you get to 8 and Ugin saves the game. I think there's a chance that that's the case. I think there's a chance that that's the case. So close game 1 where perhaps I'm supposed to mulligan my slowish hand, especially on the draw. And then that game, I think I need to put more value on the Ugin. Because like in that position we were in there, if I would have had an Ugin, it would have definitely cleaned up for it. Copied. We're playing in Cycling Aggro chat, which is exciting. I think this deck's actually really good, the Cycling Aggro deck. We played it on stream the other day to Mythic, which was great. Want to die roll? Yeah, Sand's fine, right? Soul Shatter kills their first threat. They do have 4 Improbable Alliance in their deck, is worth noting. Zenith Flare is a little scary. This is actually another matchup where Klothys, incidentally, is really good, right? So it stops their Luris, too, which is great. Easy Flare be gone. That one can nope right on out of here. Wonder if they'll play this here. They might wait a turn against a removal heavy deck. Sure. It's more resource efficient to do this, right? I take a little bit of damage, but I think that's fine. I don't think I can bottom that one. So that exiling their graveyard is like big game, right? We'll kill Valiant Rescuer this turn so they can't make more tokens. So I'll take a little bit of damage next turn. Like they cycle 4 things and attack. We go to 9. But we're gonna be drawing. We're gonna be hitting with this here soon in a minute, anyways. And this can kill the 2/2 and it can't kill the 3/1. They have like quad cycle into Zenith Flare. We could be in trouble. That's pretty good. It's going to give them 2 more tokens here. So we could theoretically die on their next turn, right? If they have Flare. We're taking like 5 here, down to 11, and then we're taking like 3, 4, 5 on their next turn. I think if they have a second Flare in their top, 20 cards or so here, we're going to get got. I think this archetype's very good. I can honestly see playing this deck tomorrow if I qualify. I have to win this match or the next one to play in the SCG thing tomorrow. Looking for a land here. That's like almost a land, not quite though. Get to grab a red source here. Yep, so dead to, what's it called exactly? Zenith Flare, I think it's hit us for 6. We're gonna be dead regardless here. Actually, just on the zero outer here. Okay, so this kills everything in their deck. Discard spells are really bad to match up like this because they just churn through so much of their hand so quickly. This is obviously great. I think it's important to have binding to not only fix our mana for Klothys, but also to be able to ramp to Ugin. Is it better to have Wilt? They have 4 copies of Improbable Alliance. What are they bringing out of the board? They have 3 Mystical Disputes and 3 Negates. Dragging the curve down with this might be right. I don't know, it's probably just an all Doomblades on deck matchup. Yeah, I was gonna submit. I can see maybe like Wilt is better than Valki, because like killing Alliance is pretty important. I could see Wilt being better than Valki because of Alliance. Maybe on the draw, I'll bring in the Wilts. This hand obviously needs a 3rd land, but beggars shan't be choosers. We have 30 lands in our deck. What are the odds? Actually, I actually don't know offhand. I think we're like, my gut says like we're 70% to hit here. There's 27 lands or 28 lands in my deck. The sample size, we have 2 draws at them before we miss. We are 78% to hit. So we're 4 out of 5 games we draw a 3rd land on time with this hand. I think I do this on 2. To like take a peekaboo at what they have. And they're gonna get to play Alliance on. Nope, that is not a red source yet. Did you spike a red source? Kill that right away. Oh, they probably should have tapped their planes to do that, huh? If they drew the red source, they could have played the Improbable Alliance. You know what the Fox says, chat? The Fox says we have a window to kill it with Elspeth's Nightmare. That's what the Fox says. As much as I would like to get this Binding of the Old Gods down, killing a Fox with this Nightmare is just incredible for us. And then we drew the 4th land, so if they stick the Alliance next turn, we can Binding of the Old Gods it. Is this a cycler? Do you have a way to trigger it this turn? You do, sure. Definitely still killing it though, right? And this is gonna take away Zenith Flare next turn. And everything's coming up Millhouse, chat. I think I want the Wilts on the draw. This card running away with the game seems scary. We board out some of this effect. It was like, okay, this game, but on the draw especially, it's never going to tag anything out of their hand before it happens. This is about to exile their graveyard. We have the dead weight to kill the Duress. I feel like this matchup's got to be okay for us on average. Like the last game where they like had all of their threats at once, I feel like is the exception more than the rule. I'm gonna grab an extra red source so we can Shatterskull Smashing if we draw it. And then this basically ensures that they can never Zenith Flare to punk us out of the game. I guess there's a world where they cycle a ton and Klothys can't keep up. But the life gain from Klothys. Leak, sure.
I leave you to your duel.
Yeah, they can't attack anymore, which is funny. This has them dead in 6. Where am I supposed to board out an Ugin in this matchup? That's crazy. Missed on the land, so we'll deadweight this. Oh, I guess the way this sequencing works out, they get to replay this turn, which is cute. What? Oh, do they have is this a white source? This must be a white source, right? Otherwise you wouldn't gamble there. Yeah. I wonder if I'm supposed to trim Ugin. Maybe it's like 1 Ugin, 1 Valki. Nah, it's gotta be 2 Valkis, right? Looks like Ugin's much better than Valki in the late game here, because I want to be able to clean up their entire board if they go wide with tokens. Yeah, it's gotta be right. Down here. Yeah, I think being able to kill Alliance seems important. These Wilts come in. Trim a little bit of the card advantage. Me Hagra Mauling is supposed to come out. 4 mana Doomblade's not very good, and trimming a land when we're on the draw on our 29 land deck is like a pretty reasonable thing to do. Love to see a deadweight and some black sources. Deadweight or eliminate to deal with a fast fox is ideal. I suppose this hand technically doesn't let deadweight deal with fast fox, but I have eliminate, so that's fine. Depending on what their hand looks like. It's not a turn 1 fox. Play like a 3-1 or a 2-2 for me. Don't play Alliance. Don't do it. Have a heart. Good start for us. I'm missing a land? Okay, so... I feel about just playing Valki out here again. They weren't missing white mana. I feel like I want to play something that commits to the board this turn. Could just be right to hold Eliminate up here even. They play like Improbable Alliance. I'm pretty sad about that though. Guess I just do this and pass. I'm pretty soft to Alliance at the moment. Not one of our 8 answers to it. 6 answers to it. Kind of 9, but Ugin's like an answer to it. Wait, do they just not cycle? That's so good for us. Alright, well, definitely just Klothys here, right? They just miss making a token? They just miss making a token for some reason. It only triggers on your second card draw, so they need to cycle on their turn. I could have just misclicked through it too. And there. I have 3/1/1s here. Don't have second black at the moment. A bit awkward. Gonna make another 1/1 when I deadweight this. We just do this. Hopefully they don't have another token maker. If they have another token maker, I'm gonna have a hard time surviving until I get to Ugin. That's assuming I find Ugin. I guess with Klothys going, we hopefully won't have too hard of a time surviving. And I'm gonna get the Elspeth's Nightmare down next turn, which will make it hard for them to save up for Zenith Flare. So I get 3 looks at an untapped land that doesn't hurt me here. We find that untapped land that doesn't hurt me. If we find a red source, we can drop on Valiant Rescuer and one of the tokens, which is nice. I think I just bottom this. I would really like a land that doesn't hurt me. In terms of racing potential. Yeah. Prioritize. Oh, you know what? I think they had a Fox in there, and I didn't exile last turn. I want to prioritize taking their things that they can bring back with Duress, right? Like trying to put out an Inferno with a fire hose, but desperate times and all that. Klothys is still gaining us 2 per turn. I suppose Crawling Barrens can even start firing up to block on the ground. And this Mazemind Tome is going to gain us life. So we're basically like trying to find our way to an Ugin at this point, right? They've got 8 cards in their bin, so we could be getting blasted for 8 this turn. Plus 5 is 13. Yeah, that makes sense. They want to do that before this happens. The old gods. I think that's got to be good enough, right? Again, prioritize taking things that this could be bringing back. Suppose it could be right to take their thing that cycles that turn even there. So this play means we could die next turn. Zenith Flare kills us. Theoretically, a bunch of cycles kill us too. We're gonna gain 4 next turn. For fuck's sake. Alright, I don't know if there's anything we could really do about that. That's why, one of the many reasons why their deck is good, right? We just we had to fade that for 1 turn with the Elspeth's Nightmare here. I was getting ready to pop off and take out their graveyard in addition to Klothys doing her thing. Oh, well, that's a frustrating match. That's unfortunate. Good games, opponent.